Okay, this is how to write your essays for the AP exams. This is for European history as well as US history. It's the exact same format. Here you see the rubric for DBQs. There are 7 points on the rubric you can achieve on the DBQ. So this is the way I format it. I try to make it very formulaic, that way it's very easy to plug in. You don't have to do anything on the day of the test. If you write every essay you do this year in this following format, you'll get an A every single time. First paragraph has 2 points you're trying to achieve: contextualization and thesis claim. And I'll talk about each one in the order that I want you to write them in. Intro paragraph 1, you want to do contextualization first. So whatever the prompt is about, like how did the country change after the Revolutionary War, or how it didn't change, or let's say it's European history and it's what major changes did the French Revolution bring to Europe, whatever the case is. So whatever the topic is, what you want to do for contextualization is give basically a rundown of how the world was operating before this prompt. So if it's the Revolutionary War, you want to talk about, well, the colonies were in fairly good terms with the British. They were getting along until the French-Indian War. Then things began to change, and so on and so forth. You're kind of setting the stage for your eventual prompt. For European history, same thing. Most countries had monarchies, and they had nobles that led the country, a lot of absolute monarchs. They didn't have democracy. You want to kind of set the stage. Your contextualization should be about 5 or 6 sentences, so it's going to be fairly lengthy. You want to start out the gate in your intro paragraph with these sentences explaining what is going on in this time period that leads to your prompt's topic. So that's 1 point. So it says, to earn this point, the response must relate the topic of the prompt to broader historical events, developments, and processes that occur before, during, or continue the time frame of the question. This point is not awarded for merely a phrase or reference. I mean, you can't just write a sentence. It needs to be like a few sentences. The next thing you should end your intro paragraph with is your thesis. You're going to take the prompt. Don't feel like you have to totally rewrite the prompt, whatever it is. If the prompt is, explain ways in which the Revolutionary War changed or did not change the colonies or the United States, then you don't have to totally rewrite that. You can take that prompt and reword it, but you want to add to it. So your thesis claim can be the Revolutionary War fundamentally changed the colonies in several ways, period. That's good, and you didn't really rework the prompt that much. All that's fine. What you want to do is add to it, add a roadmap. Behind that sentence, what you want to say, some examples of this are, and you're going to give example 1, 2, 3. Because examples 1, 2, 3 are going to be paragraphs 1, 2, 3, essentially, which is what we call roadmap. So thesis should be 2 sentences. Kind of rework the prompt to state what you're trying to say, very straightforward. You don't want to mangle up the prompt too much, because then you might lose sight of what you're talking about, or the reader will become confused. But it should be very, very obvious what your essay is going to be about in general. So your first intro paragraph should be about 7, 8 sentences, essentially, depending on how long contextualization is. So that's what you want to do for the first paragraph. Then you're going to get to evidence. You get 3 points for evidence. In a DBQ, you're going to get 6 documents. So you're going to, you're going to get 7 documents. You have to write 6 on 6 to get full credit. So you're going to get 7 documents, you write on 6 to get full credit. If you do anything less than 6, you only get 1 out of 2 points, because it says it right here. To get 2 points for evidence supports an argument in response to the prompt using at least 6 documents. So anything less than 6 is not good. Can you do all 7 to get credit? Sure. To get the 3rd point for evidence, use at least 1 additional piece of specific historical evidence beyond that found in the document relevant to an argument. So they're going to give you 7 documents, but you got to give at least 1 example. So if you're talking Revolutionary War, let's say one of the documents is not about Common Sense by Thomas Paine. If you bring up Common Sense by Thomas Paine in your body paragraphs, that's fine. The reason why I want contextualization in your introduction paragraph and not in your body paragraphs is because you can't get credit for outside evidence and contextualization together. So you want contextualization to be separate in the intro paragraph, and then you want to give an outside example in the body paragraphs. My advice to you is don't be vague in your explanation. To get your outside evidence, you need to give like an example of a person, place, event. Like you want to say Boston Tea Party or the Boston Massacre, common sense, Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson. Give a specific example. And don't just list it. Don't just say, an example of this is common sense. You want to say, an example of how mindsets change for the colonists is through the writings of Thomas Paine's Common Sense, where they realize they shouldn't be governed by an island 1,000 miles away. That's a specific example. That's the kind of thing they're going to want for that point. But your outside evidence point can be a sentence. That's it. And it only has to show up one time. So as long as you have somewhere in your 3 body paragraphs one outside example that's specific, you're good. Do you have to have 3 body paragraphs? No, it's just the best formula because you know you're going to have a good argument. So here's how I would format your body paragraphs. Sentence 1 is your topic. Like, this is what this paragraph's about. So if it's about how documents changed the colonies, you want to start the paragraph off by saying several documents had profound impact on the colonies during the 1760s and 70s, period. So don't just go straight into information or details. You want to give a topic first. You have to cite 6 documents. So every time you write with a document, you want to do what I call a 1-2 punch. You want to have one sentence that explains the document and one sentence that explains its greater significance. Don't quote. AP readers do not read your quotes. They already know that documents say the quotes are totally, rewriting quotes is a total waste of time. Don't do it. So every time you use any document, you must do 2 sentences per document. I don't care if Doc 3 and Doc 6 are about the same topic. Don't combine them together. You still have to do 2 sentences per document, and then once you do that, then if you want to talk about Doc 3 and 6 together, that's fine. But let's say you want to reference Doc 3 first. You'll say, in Doc 3, and you can abbreviate Doc 3, and that's fine. In Doc 3, comma, the author, John Smith, says this, and basically you paraphrase. Just basically say, this is the main idea. You want to show the reader you understand what the document is saying, because a lot of times people read these documents and don't get what the author of the document is saying. You basically say, okay, this is what this is about. Paraphrase it, no quotations, period. Second sentence, this is why it's significant. You can literally write, this is why it's significant. Or you can say, this document is significant because, and that sentence should be arguing how it ties back to your main idea of your overall point. So if your body paragraph has a topic sentence, Doc 3, 2 sentences, Doc 6, 2 sentences, right there, boom, you already have 5 sentences, and your paragraph's basically done. So if you do that for all 3 paragraphs, 2 documents per paragraph, you already have 15 sentences basically, and you already have most of your paper right there. And then in one of those 3 paragraphs, you have an outside example of evidence, you're good to go. The last little bit for analysis and reasoning, you have 2 more rubric points. For at least 3 documents, explain how or why the document's point of view, purpose, historical situation, or audience is relevant to an argument. I call this PPHA. You have to address point of view, or purpose, or historical situation, or audience. Not all of them. If you want to take 3 documents and write about audience for all 3, totally fine. You just have to address it. I would be very straightforward. In your essay, what you want to say is, the author's point of view was this. If you're doing your 2 sentences per document, in that second sentence, you can incorporate this into that second sentence. So you can say, John Smith's point of view was this, or his audience was that. Be very straightforward. The reader's not going to be impressed with your flowery vocab or language. Be very direct. You only have 45, 60 minutes to write these things. Get it done. Don't worry about vocab. Be very straightforward. If you need to say this is significant, or the audience was, or the point of view was, write it, okay? My suggestion is, in case you get one of them wrong, is to not do it for just 3 documents, but do it for 4. Pick 4 documents, address PPHA, point of view, purpose, historical situation, or audience. Not all 4 for each one. Just pick one of those topics and address it for 4 documents, and you're good. The last point is essentially, does your overall paper make sense? Does it make a good argument? And that's it. But if you get a 6 out of 7, you're totally fine. If you're getting like a 4 out of 7 or a 5 out of 7 on your rubric, you still can get a 4 or 5 on this exam. You're still in very much good shape, so don't worry about that. Lastly, the LEQ essay. This is the non-document based one. This is a 6-point scale. It's not that different from the DBQ. You still get a point for thesis, point for contextualization. same exact thing. Don't change anything. You should still have 2 or 3 body paragraphs, start with a topic and so on. This time you have no documents though. So evidence changes. 2 points for evidence. To earn 2 points, the response must use specific, keyword, historical evidence to support an argument in response to the prompt. You have to use specific evidence, meaning names, events, places, whatever the case is, document names. Not just the colonists did not like the British government. That's true, you're not wrong, but how so? Show me how. They did the Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre was a travesty, Stamp Act, whatever the case is. Give examples of that. So you have to have examples in both paragraphs. And the last thing, analysis and reasoning. To get 2 points, demonstrates a complex understanding of the historical development that is the focus of the prompt, using evidence to corroborate, qualify, or modify an argument that addresses the question. Basically, does your overall paper make sense? Does your argument make sense? You can find this rubric in the course description guidebook on College Board anytime. Just go to its course description guidebook for AP US History or AP Euro, and the examples are there. But that's how you should write the essay. If you write every single essay like that for history classes, you'll have a perfect every single time. I don't care what English says or what other classes say. This is what you have to do for the AP class, whatever AP history class you're in. World history, Euro history, or US history. Good luck, guys.